children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be our norm. We must work together to correct this. Help us prevent, help us protect, help us prosecute. A message by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Sure to be sure of your benefits. Sickness and maternity, I'll tell you about the rest of it. Survivors grant your spouse and kids get the best of it. Let me mention pension when you're 62.
Hello listeners, welcome to another edition of Social Security 5, your Social Security information program brought to you by the St. Christopher and Nevis Social Security Board. I am your presenter, Beyond Bassett, for this broadcast. The Social Security Board has spoken extensively about the importance of contribution statements. In short, a contribution statement provides a snapshot of your earnings over a particular period and the number of weeks worked. This information lets you know how much earnings have been reported for you over a specific timeline. Let me just share with you some of the ways in which you can make the most of your contribution statement. 1. It can help you to begin to have an idea of how much you may be in a position to earn at pension age. Although the statement doesn't show the exact amount of your pension payment, it records your earnings and contribution weeks. In order to qualify for a pension, an insured person must have a minimum of 500 contribution weeks. However, the more weeks you have, the greater the percentage rate. This statement will put you in a better position of knowing firstly whether or not you actually qualify for an age pension and what your pension amount is likely to be. 2. Your contribution statement can also help you to estimate what your family members may be entitled to receive as survivors' pensions when you die. Social Security pays out benefits to families when the breadwinner passes away. Your dependent children, parent, and a spouse will likely be eligible for payments upon your death. Your total contribution weeks, which are shown in your contribution statement, will indicate if you are in the qualifying conditions for your loved ones to make a claim for survivor's benefit. You must have paid at least 150 contributions into the fund. A claim for funeral grant is also determined by the amount of contribution weeks. The insured person must have actually paid at least 26 contribution weeks into Social Security. 3. You will have access to a snapshot of your earnings record. Under the reported earnings section of the statement, you will be able to view how much you have earned during the particular year. In unfortunate situations, sometimes your income does not get properly reported to Social Security, and this statement will show clearly if this is the case. Your reported earnings plays a critical role in how much and whether or not you are entitled to a short-term or long-term benefit. In this broadcast, we have shared with you 3 very important reasons for reviewing a contribution statement and how you can make the most of your annual statement. To supplement the contribution statement, it is equally important to keep payslips to act as a check and balance of the wage information recorded at Social Security. We encourage all employees and self-employed persons to visit their nearest Social Security office. Email us at customersservice@socialsecurity.kn or call direct or WhatsApp at 869-662-8476 or 668-2545 or 669-2545 to request yours today. While doing so, be sure to update your contact information, including your current address, telephone number, and email so that you can receive all correspondence sent to you. For more information, please feel free to contact our Corporate Communications Department at 2535 or 469-5245. That is all the time we have for this edition of Social Security 5. Until we come your way again, this is Beyond Basu, encouraging you to secure your future and know the status of your contributions.
To be sure of your benefits, sickness and maternity, I'll tell you about the rest of it. Survivors grant your spouse and kids get the best of it. Let me mention pension when you're sick.
TDC Home and Building Depot is turning up the savings. Shop exclusive deals on Thursday, May 22nd. Visit shoptdcgroup.com from 5 p.m. till midnight. Friday, May 23rd. Get 20% off select in-store items. Mega Reward members get 5% more. Saturday, May 24th. It's our Big Tent Sale with 75% off furniture, tools, and more. TDC, your favorite retail store.
St. Kitts and Nevis, it's time to celebrate! We're raising our glasses and saying cheers to 20 years as your trusted telecommunications provider. And because we love our amazing customers, we're giving you the chance to win. Every week, we've got exciting prizes just for you. And that's not all. Step into a cash vault for a shot at $2,000 in cash. To qualify, switch to Digicel, activate a 3-day plan or higher, pay your bill in full, sign up for postpaid or a new Digicel Plus internet package. Stay connected, keep enjoying the best service, and get ready to win. 20 years strong, and we're just getting started. Visit a Digicel retail store today. Found the South.
Tune in to Creative Voices, the ultimate radio call-in program where innovation meets inspiration. Join me, Dr. Sarah Owen, as I welcome brilliant Caribbean creatives and innovators for engaging sessions that promise to spark your creativity. Don't miss this unique opportunity to interact with our guests, ask your burning questions, and gain insights that could elevate your own creative endeavors. Tune in every other Friday from 10 a.m. to midday. Get inspired. Let your voice be heard. Mark your calendars and prepare to embark on a journey of creativity and innovation with Creative Voices.
Strong, grow together. Let Oxford's building and Nevis centers lead the way. From tools to materials, we've got it every day. Oxford's building and Nevis centers, a name you can trust. For every dream project, don't go and build with us. Dream with us, grow with us, build with us today. Oxford's is the partner that helps you pave the way.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might broke up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with winnfm.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, and how are we doing this morning? It is the 26th day of May in the year 2025. This is Island Tea. We welcome you all. Good morning to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the regional and international diaspora, to everyone in the hearing of our voices. Good morning. Just to remind you, we're being televised on TVC Channel 40. We're on Facebook as well as YouTube. And for those of you who can still hear us on the radio, we are 98.9. The numbers you can reach us at, for those of you wishing to join the conversation or share a pressing topic, in the UK, 0333-440065. In the US, once again, just a reminder, we have two numbers. The first, 1718-285-6984 or 1-305-921-4619. Our local number, 466-0989. Good morning, Quint. How are you doing on this rainy Monday morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
I see we should have a little thunder and some showers around 9 and 10. I'm hoping that the rest of the day is clear. I intend to get all my chores done today.
Okay.
And that includes my laundry. I'm trying to use the sun and not the dryer.
Well, the sun is always the best.
Yeah, as we know. So, what's on your mind this morning? We have a few headlines. I even have a little clip here. I am... sometimes it saddens me because of the line of work that I'm in and the fact that in the morning sometimes I don't want to hear the news, I don't want to see the news, I want to have nothing to do with the news, but I cannot ignore the news because it's part of what I do.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start off with something fun, but then I have to start off with something sad because I see over there in Ukraine, Russia continues to wreak havoc, although they said Ukraine started it first. You know how sometimes I think, have we ever grown up? Because the mere fact you're gonna say that they started it first, it makes no sense to me. I just had it, and then over in the Gaza, I see two doctors. Well, they're both doctors. One doctor went to carry the other doctor to work, and by the time he got back home, his house was striked in the Gaza. They had 10 children, only one survived, and the doctor at the hospital was saying for an 11-year-old, he was very small. He came to imagine seeing a child come into the hospital with his hand hanging off. His dad, they're trying, but they're not sure if he will make it, but there is a guarantee that the child will make it. So let me pull that up. I just had it right here. Okay, let me just pull that up. I literally see when you're ready and then you can't find your stuff. Okay, here we go. There we go, right here. I'm going to play it for us. Come on, work with me.
Yeah.
Okay. I might have to go back in. All right, as we continue.
Well, before we get off of that, I think I heard you playing a bit of a clip this morning.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find because
Yeah.
I just had it, literally.
Where they were saying that Zelensky was saying that the silence of the world
You heard
is,
that.
Yeah. I heard that.
You were listening.
Yeah, but I was thinking to myself when I heard that, that I'm going to say this and it's going to sound harsh, but I have no sympathy for Zelensky if the rest of the world is going to continue to do what they're doing in the Gaza, because he's saying that the world is silent and it is their silence is sanctioning what is
Putin's
happening
behavior.
to him, but it's the same with the Ukraine. And
No, it's the same with the Gaza.
the same with the Gaza. And not once have I heard him say, like, okay, we're going through the same thing as what is happening in the Gaza. You understand what I'm saying? And it is wrong. He's not saying that. He's just about himself. And I have no sympathy, whatever
Or
you...
maybe he's just focusing on what's happening to him.
Look,
Just like how we don't hear them mentioning them.
well, they're
Can we
not
say
going
it's the same thing?
Well, no, because they are... Have we been able to hear their leaders being able to speak? No, we're hearing the people who are suffering being able to
mostly.
speak. But he's a leader who, usually the leaders are somehow protected and sheltered. They're never on the front line. You understand? So I don't have any sympathy for him as long as what is happening in the Gaza continues to happen, because it is very strange that I hear the world news talking about what Russia is doing to him but most of them are quite silent as to what is happening.
Israel is doing to the
Yeah.
Palestinian.
So, I don't have any time for him. As a matter of fact, when I hear him, it irritates me. You know what I'm saying? It just irritates me.
Oh boy. Well, I've played a little bit of the clip because I found
With
it.
a massive, deadly Russian attack on Ukraine overnight. It is the largest aerial assault there since the war began more than 3 years ago. NBC's Matt Bradley has new details. Matt, what's the latest?
Yeah, Willie, it's like you said, it's being called Russia's largest aerial bombardment against Ukraine ever since this war started 3 years ago. Russia launched about 367 missiles and drones at about 30 villages and cities in Ukraine over the past day, including the capital. Now, the death toll currently stands at least 12 people, including 3 children, with about hundreds more who have been injured. And this follows on from last night when at least 4 people had been killed, also in strikes by the Russians. Now, Russia itself also said that the Ukrainians had attacked them with about 100 drones over the past 24 hours. Now, all of this happens as efforts to end the war have stalled. Now, President Trump had said that he was hoping to end the war, but he has been more lenient than his predecessor, and that might be one of the reasons why we heard from President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine. He appealed to President Trump on social media, saying that the silence of President Trump and the silence of people throughout the world is only encouraging Putin. Now, European and Ukrainian leaders have been encouraging Russia to sign on to a 30-day ceasefire, but there has been some diplomatic progress, Willie. Actually, Russia and Ukraine are in the 3rd day of a 3-day huge prisoner exchange that, despite this sprawling bombardment, actually went ahead this morning. Willie?
And these are civilian targets, as you point out, inside Ukraine. Matt Bradley, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Yeah, so, but you notice how they spin the news? I don't miss these things, because I've been listening to these things practically all my life. Just like you, when I was young, I didn't like to hear the news because you felt all you were hearing was bad, and so on. And now that you're grown up, you realize why you didn't want to hear the news when you were young, because all you hear for the most part is bad. But notice how they started out with Russia bombarded with 100 and something, but then casually in the end they said, Russia also said that Ukraine bombarded them with 100 and something. You understand? They're going to put that to the back because they want to make sure that if anything, you don't even realize that they said that that Ukraine also bombarded them with a similar amount of bombs. And I can remember times when I heard the Russian president, the Ukrainian president boasting about earlier when they used to send bombs over into Russia. You understand? So, and then hear the news reporter, X amount of individuals, including 3 children, because they want us to have sympathy for the 3 children or how many children die. But how many children have been dying over in the Gaza? Yeah. And compile all of the people who have died in the Ukraine war and compare them with the amount of the thousands and thousands that have died in the Gaza and see if you can come anywhere near the amount of individuals. So
no, thousands.
You understand?
I saw the figures last night too when I read an article, and it's like thousands upon thousands upon
and the
thousands.
thing about it is Israel is arrogant. Israel is not showing any, rather than doing any kind of relenting, they're forcefully going ahead and boastfully telling you they're not going to stop until they eliminate whoever it is that I don't even remember the name of the
Hamas.
people. Hamas. You understand? And they know they're not going to be able to completely eradicate Hamas. You know why? Because the more they keep bombarding
they're creating the little ones.
Yes,
they're creating.
the little ones are going to join.
Yeah, I saw this little boy. He was so passionate about what he was saying about them.
You understand what I'm saying? They're going to join. Look, man. So don't tell me anything about the Ukraine. I just don't have the, gets on my nerves. Hello, caller.
Oh,
Good
boy.
morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Clint. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm just as outraged as eloquent on this one. You know, and it's good that you recognize the duplicity of the press.
Yeah.
Okay. In framing the narrative here. Okay. Imagine making a huge fuss of 12 people being killed, including 3 children, and ignoring the thousands in Gaza. I mean, and just this weekend, you heard of one of the doctors there losing 9 children, 9 over 10 children.
9 of 10, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and you strangely enough, and maybe they're coming around to the senses. The British BBC, okay, has been reporting extensively on this.
Yeah.
You don't hear it on the U.S. media.
Yeah.
Okay. And that again shows what's happening. They're using the media to control the narrative, to convince unsuspecting people that the war in Gaza is about fighting for democracy in some strange way.
Yeah.
Fighting for democracy, and not about justice. It was, I think, it's Martin Luther King who said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Yeah.
And we should pay particular note of this because we are small and vulnerable, right? And maybe the next victim.
Yeah, but listen, you mentioned that, and I have the BBC article in front of me, and it says, Israel launched a military campaign in Gaza in response to Hamas cross-border attack on the 7th of October 2023, in which about 1,200 people were killed and 251 others were taken hostage. But it goes on to say at least 53,901 people, including at least 16,500 children, have been killed in the Gaza since then.
Exactly.
You understand that?
You want to tell me that that is a proportionate response? Of course, what happened on October 7th was bad, was wrong. Okay, but you want to tell me that what they're doing now justifies that October 7th, what happened on October 7th is justified or justifies what's happening now, right? And the whole thing is this isn't just start on October 7th, right? This started way back after World War II, when the British, when they basically created Israel. That's when Israel was created.
Yeah.
Right? And to
That's
make
when
it
it
sound as
started.
if this is some just come problem.
Wow.
You know, is disingenuous at best. Okay? And the problem is, right? People, the rest of the world, and Zelensky is correct there in saying that the rest of the world not doing enough to end these conflicts.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody seems to be watching the United States, and what the United States basically says goes. Trump may have difficulty in control in getting a ceasefire in Ukraine, okay, because Russia is big and powerful, and they're going to have to agree. But he can, in one day, if it's if it's one thing in one day, he can get a ceasefire in Gaza one day, okay, by talking to Israel. But they're reluctant to do that, okay, because maybe on the easy sale, what Netanyahu is doing is clearing the path for Trump's vision of Gaza as a new Riviera.
Yeah, that is what is happening.
And
Notice from the moment Trump made that statement. Remember when that statement was made?
Yeah.
They were either on the brink of or they were in a ceasefire. But from the time Trump made that statement, all of the Israeli, they agreed with it, and we all said that it was going to sanction the starting up of the war, and so it has happened.
But you saw the smirk on Netanyahu's face when Trump made that announcement. You know, so this is what my fear is. My fear is that we've returned to the bad old days of colonialism and imperialism, where stronger nations just walk over, weaker nations, smaller nations, right? And that is why it's relevant to us here, right? Because in the scheme of things, we're just a little rock in the sea. Powerful nations can do to us what they will.
Yeah, caller, we're going to have to break. We have some officers waiting there. Sorry to cut you, but yeah, okay. We're going to take a bit of a break, and we'll be right back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
If you live in low-lying areas, be aware of the possibility of tsunamis immediately after an earthquake. A strong earthquake lasting 20 seconds or more is a natural tsunami warning. Do not wait for an official warning. Gather your family members and evacuate immediately after the shaking stops. Don't delay. A tsunami could occur within minutes.
This message is sponsored by the Australian Government, AusAid, and produced by NEMA in collaboration with WinFM.
Welcome to Island Tea with your favorite.
Hey, have you heard about the water shortage in our area?
Yeah, it's pretty serious. I've been trying to conserve water as much as possible.
Me too. I've started taking shorter showers and turning off the faucet when I brush my teeth.
Well, that's great. Another way to save water is to fix any leaks in your house.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. How much water can a leak waste?
A small leak can waste up to 20 gallons of water daily, which can really add up over time.
Wow, that's a lot. And have to check for any leaks in my house.
But another good tip is to only run your dishwasher and washing machine when they are full to save water and energy.
I'll keep that in mind. It's important that we all do our part to conserve water, especially during this shortage.
Absolutely. Every drop counts.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Water Services Department. Learn more at water.gov.kn.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on WinFM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on WinFM 98.9.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea as we continue our program this morning. We have Traffic Talk in studio with us. We have Constables Bell and Nisbet. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are we doing this morning?
I'm fine.
Win the battle this morning, you know.
Yeah, I didn't come to lose today.
Okay. All right, good stuff. So our topics for today will be about the lights. I don't know what type of lights, folks. I'm going to let the officers enlighten you. So take it away.
Okay, good morning. My name is Constable Bell. Today's topic would be led by Constable Nisbet.
Okay.
But, however, we are speaking on the lighting, and that is governed by Regulation 18 in our traffic laws. One could get tickets in three different ways for lighting. It could either be for one lighted headlamp, no lighted headlamp, or driving without unauthorized lights. Okay.
White lights and blue lights.
Yes. But before I go into the stats and what's not for those offenses, I would like Constable Nisbet introduce himself and start.
Okay, good morning. Right. Our topic today is lighting. Before I get started on the lighting, our laws stated what road means, right? The road means any street, road, or open space to which the public are granted access, and any bridge or which a road passage, and includes any private owned street, road, or open space to which the public are granted access, either generally or conditionally. Right? That is what our laws says a road means. Right? A motor vehicle means any mechanical vehicle intended or adapted for use of the road. So anything you made into a vehicle, especially those bikes that they make to put a motor to, right? That is considered a motor vehicle. So it must have on everything on top of it.
Those little fast scooters that have suddenly resurrected. Or
Fast
I shouldn't say
scooters, what?
resurrected. The little ones that you just use to zoom here and zoom there. See? Comes with that nose. Chuckling over there.
That is
those ones
considered to
after?
be a motor vehicle.
As well. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just
For now, we're just tolerating them. For now.
But they must have lights.
Yes.
Okay. Got you.
Yes.
Just to make it clear
Anything
for
that
everybody
is
that's
anything that is
zooming
motor
behind.
propelled must have lights, must have brakes, and should have horn or any bell or something to
To
alert
alert.
persons that they are oncoming.
Okay.
And those persons must and should wear helmets.
I see some wearing helmets with high-vis equipment to let us know the jackets. Yeah.
Some take proper precautions, some just having fun.
Careless. All right. Councilman Nisbet, you may continue. I just wanted to make it clear for those persons
Yes,
writing
that's-
it out there that the officers are saying this, so you follow what they say to not get in trouble.
Okay. Every motor vehicle shall be equipped with at least 2 lamps at the front of the vehicle, one on each side, and when the motor vehicle is in motion on a road at night, the 2 lamps at the front of the vehicle shall be lighted. So once you're driving at night, the 2 lamps, that is headlamps, must be on. Our law doesn't speak anything about fog lights.
Okay.
Right? People tend to drive with fog lights. That's the bottom light
The
on the
bottom
vehicle.
light,
The law doesn't speak about fog lights. It speaks about the lamps.
Yes.
That is the headlamps.
And before Nisbet go off of the headlamps, we find that some persons, sometimes it's just the bulb that is gone bad in the headlamps. And before they go and they buy a bulb for the vehicle, probably the year of the vehicle, the bulbs that they get in probably only could be orange, or they don't have the LED for it. They buy aftermarket lights where they mount on their vehicle and use those instead of the headlamps. That is illegal. You should have lighted headlamps, not a light, not those long strip lights to the top that blinding people when you're coming towards them.
Okay.
Those bright LEDs are not. Buy 2 LED lights and mount them on your vehicle. Those are not headlamps.
Okay.
The headlamps, what do you call that? The area for the headlamps are already set on the vehicle, and those are where the lights should be.
Okay.
Nowhere else.
Okay. The lighting and the way, that's the light that projects off the vehicle, must be uncolored. It cannot be a colored light. So there's no blue, green, yellow, or anything. It's just the light. Right? And if the vehicle is capable of proceeding at speed greater than 20 miles per hour or such, right, the way must be able to portray at least 75 yards away from your vehicle. right? So you can't just put in a dim light and say that you're having headlamps. It must show a greater distance, right, to be safe on the road so the oncoming vehicle can see the lights coming towards you. Okay.
Those lights should be able to dim.
The same headlamp.
The same headlamps, they're supposed to be able to have bright and dim.
Okay.
Some persons, they're dim, gone, and they're just driving on the bright headlamps. Now, everyone could tell when a vehicle have on their brights. Okay? So if you're coming towards a police checkpoint and you have on your bright lights, whether or not the two bright headlamps work, we have to ensure that those dim work as well, because the dim lights are what you're supposed to have, especially when you have oncoming vehicles. The bright lights, if you're in an area stretch that you need to see way ahead and there's no oncoming vehicles. So you're not supposed to be driving on your brights unnecessarily.
Before Constable Nesbitt continues, how early should we turn on our headlights?
Depends on the night.
The night. It depends on the timing.
So you don't have 5:30, no 6:30?
It's between 5:30 and 6 o'clock.
That's when we should turn it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Most people, what we tell people, if you do not know when it's night on that day, from you see the street lights come on, your headlamp should be on.
Okay. All
Right? Because depends on the timing of the year, night might fall back or go forward.
So what if the street lights ain't working? I'm going to be the devil's advocate.
I don't want to believe all the lights wouldn't be working. And if all the lights not working, then the place is dark, so turn on your headlight.
Okay, so, yeah.
Okay, providing that a motorcycle shall show one such light, right, as afforded. Right? That means a bicycle, any motorbike must have on at least that one headlamp. Right? Some people bike come with two, but we must see that one light. Right? Okay. Every vehicle other than a motor vehicle in motion on the road at night shall carry at least one lighted lamp, right, attached to the front of the vehicle, and the ray from the front from the lamp shall be uncolored. Right, so those like the scooters and stuff, right, must carry a light at night once it's on the road. It must have a light. Pedal bikes, all of them must have at least one light on the front. Right. No spotlight or any similar swiveling light shall be carried on any motor vehicle without authorization from the licensing officers. Right? So you're adding any lights to your vehicle, any extra lights. Some people just put a light between the fog lights on certain vehicle. That is not tolerated. Right? You must get authorization from the traffic department to put those lights on your vehicle. Without that, it is considered unauthorized lighting. Right? The vehicle already come with lights. Yeah. Why would you want to put on more lights and do not use the lights that come on the vehicle? Right?
No, the only persons that the licensing authority authorized to have colored lights, and that's omnibuses, and those lights should be like a strip in the front grille. I think it's either green or red. That is to indicate to persons trying to stop passenger bus, hey, this bus is heading either to Sandy Point direction or to the countryside.
Okay.
So those lights in the grille, because sometimes it's just a light, headlamps coming to you, you don't know if it's an omnibus or if it's a normal vehicle. So to try to alert persons intending to catch the bus ahead of time, so they say, hey, a bus coming, they have the lights in the grill.
Okay.
Okay? some persons misuse the leeway and they put the lights to blink, to rotate, to do all kind of different stuff. The light is supposed to be still and as a strip in the grill.
Okay.
Okay? The persons who have glow under lights underneath the vehicles when they're driving, the blinking lights, the flashing blue lights, anything that is not the orange or white, it's unauthorized.
Okay. So the lights that we see sometimes under the cars on the road.
Yes, it's unauthorized.
Okay, no good. All
It's
right.
I understand, it's a good swag for persons, but it's just the law.
Okay.
And we're just enforcing the law.
Okay.
Okay? And as I indicate to persons that if you guys have problems with certain laws, it's okay to put it in writing with your suggestion and your concern, and we could also reconsider and look at how best we could work, because we are here to serve the public.
Yeah.
Okay? So not just get up and decide, hey, this ain't make no sense, so I'm going to do what I want. No, you're going to fall in problems.
Big ones.
Yeah.
So let me ask this then. If, because young people, because you're both young, because you're hearing me now? Because you're both young, and I'm sure that occasionally you want a bit of swag. Okay? So suppose a group of individuals get together with enough numbers and they make a petition and they say, we as young people want to be able to have this light under our car. Would the authorities consider it and look at it, and perhaps maybe down the line that could come into play?
Once it is pushed properly and orderly, I would assume that the licensing authority, the attorney general, because all different persons have to come together to come to a mutual agreement.
Yeah.
Once it is something that they could see that would be progressive and not harm us in the future, then I would say yes, we would consider.
Yeah, okay. Because I ask that because in places around the world, young people have competitions where they have cars and they line up at certain times of the year and they see who has the best sound system, who has the best lighting system, and if you have those creative under the car lighting, they can win awards and that kind of stuff. So
we do have that here.
Yeah.
However, we and police officers do attend these things to ensure that the safety is kept.
Yeah.
We do tolerate them with those stuff, the sound system, the lights, because it's competitions and persons are trying to make a little dollars.
Yeah.
But when they are going on the road now, the public road, they must adhere to the laws. Because even the loudness, it's an offense to have noisy vehicles.
Yeah.
It's an offense. So we tolerate them in private areas, stuff like that. But to go on the public road where persons are driving and would want to focus, we cannot tolerate it, especially the loud noise.
Yeah. I can understand.
Yes.
But every petition that you send, we take them very seriously. So we look into them, whether we want to or not. We have to take it seriously and we have to respond.
Yes,
right? So once you send something to the licensing authority, we will respond back to you in an email or a letter to let you know if you're going to be approved or not. Yes. Right? That is why they have the car shows, they have the racetrack, and as you see, those race vehicles do not be on the road racing because they have to abide by the rules.
Yes, yes.
Right? So even though you want to fix up your car nicely and stuff, wait for the car show. Right? When the car show come, you put on all your lights and you do that. Because when you install a light on your vehicle, whether in or under the vehicle, there's an on switch and an off switch. Right? It do not stay on all the time. So just turn it off when it's supposed to be off, and when the show come, you just put it back on. Right? It's very simple. Once we don't see the light on the road, we're not gonna stop you for the light because we know you was in the car show with it on. Right? We will only stop you once you have it on that road at that point in time.
And as we speak about that, sometimes the 99% of the time when we stop vehicles, for one lighted headlamp or no lighted headlamp, they excuse it. But I left out of the house and it was on. No.
So they didn't realize.
No, if we are to accept that excuse, then we will reach nowhere. Everyone will get up and use the same excuse, and it could have been the light was out for years, months, days. No, it's not up to the police to take your word for it.
Yeah.
No, officers have discretions that they can use. But if you do get a ticket, whether or not you left out of the house and the light was on, and when we stopped you, the light was off, we are dealing with what is in front of us.
What's present.
Okay? If I feel like, hey, I know this guy, he's driving all the time, he passed through our checkpoints all the time, I've never seen him with one lighted headlamp. Even if he walk a shot on me, that was me giving him a blight. Because the next time I see that person, he cannot come and give me that same excuse. And St. Kitts is small. We have a lot of vehicles, but the officers can remember the vehicles very, very, very good.
Don't try a shot.
So even if you get you today, and you go tomorrow and you fix it, hey, you did me a favor.
Yeah.
But if you get you today and you don't fix it, hey, you're not getting you tomorrow.
Okay.
You're not getting you tomorrow.
Fair enough.
So whether or not, I don't want persons to be running with it and saying, oh, the officers, they mean have no heart, they're looking money. We do not get any commission from tickets.
As much as we would love to.
We do.
Well, you're honest, you're honest.
We do not
get any.
It does not increase any pay to our salary. So I don't want persons to feel like the officers them out there targeting people because they're getting something. And I don't want it to seem bad, but we advocate for more actually as traffic officers. But as we say, we have to put it in writing and we have to go through the proper channel. So for the general public, we are not out here just issuing tickets because we are getting anything. We have a job to do. If we don't issue these tickets, if we don't govern our streets, the streets is going to govern us.
Because they're still acting lawlessly.
Yes. And as we speak about lawlessly, just for the year, for one lighted headlamp, we have issued 122 tickets. 122 tickets from January to present for no lighted headlamps. And I don't understand how persons could take these chances on the road at night. Sometimes I turn off my lights while I drive in, and it's so hard to see on the road, and persons out on the road taking these chances. Sometimes you see a one light coming to you and you think it's a motorcycle.
A whole car.
And sometimes the one light, the light that is out is on the right side. So that is the side closer to you. So you probably come in, the road is not marked out properly. No fault of yours. But however, we have to drive cautiously. And we are judging our spacing for a motorcycle coming with a one light. But as we get close, we realize, hey, it's a truck, it's a car, it's a pickup. And the light that is out is more closer to your side. Now you have to be swinging and swerving. So it's very dangerous for one lighted headlamps, much less no lighted headlamps. And for no lighted headlamps, we have issued 24 tickets. We are not supposed to be issuing tickets for no lighted headlamp, especially at night. That could be a hazard to you and to other road users. Unauthorized lights, we have issued 61 tickets. And I could tell you this, from these tickets, there are more than 5 persons who are repeated offenders for these tickets.
Excuse me, they have monies to give away, man.
Sometimes in 1 month you stop the same person 3 times and they give you the same excuse. Tomorrow I'm going to change it. Tomorrow I'm going to change it. So
Never change.
we have to really take the law more seriously. Okay, we have to take the law more seriously, and especially with lights. I don't know. No, I didn't want to take over. You start.
No, but we're speaking things that folks need to hear.
Yeah.
So
Just
they cannot
waiting
say
till
y'all
you
didn't
finish.
say it. Yeah.
Just waiting till you finish.
No problem.
Okay, this is one that we give a lot of tickets for, that people claim that they don't know that they're supposed to have. Right? Every motor vehicle when in motion on a road at night shall carry at least one showing a red light at the rear. That's the rear lights. One must, at least one should be showing. You cannot have both of them out. Right? That is to indicate to the drivers behind of you that there's a vehicle ahead of you. So if I'm not directly behind of you, I can see the light from a distance. That shows me that something is up in front. Right? And for that, for such intents as it indicate clearly within a reasonable distance, it presents on the road to the traffic approaching from behind, right? And the lamp shall be such construction, right, and show an uncolored light as such intense as it illuminates clearly the figure and the numbers of the rear indicator license plate, right? Meaning that the license plate at the rear of your vehicle should have an uncolored light, illuminating the license plate, so we can see clearly the license plate number, right? So sometimes we have accidents and we trying to watch the camera and there's no light by the license plate, so we can't identify the license plate. Right? That is why we ask you to always have that light. Some people telling you, the main light supposed to be there, right? But if you would inspect your vehicle before you leave, you would see that the light is out, right? Or that you need a bulb, or you need to leave the vehicle and get the light fixed, right? But when you buy a vehicle, you're supposed to make sure that that light is working, right?
Say one, say two. Person, they do put in the lights, but they either put in a light that is blinking, like police lights, or they're gonna put in a colored light, purple, pink, green. Those are unauthorized lights also. So even though a light is there, it should be the white or the orange. And another problem that we have, and we're gonna start to pull up our socks with, is the number plates. Persons are mounting their number plates with mounts that could tilt the number plates. So you would see a vehicle driving in front of you. It has on a number plate, but the mount have it tilt horizontally instead of vertically. So we can't see the number plate, they have it tilt.
Yes, we have seen a few vehicles like that. They put
To the
on
front
a
and to the
license
back.
plate on the back, mostly on the back, right? But it is slightly tinted, right? It's supposed to be straight.
So, you know, some vehicles don't come with the license plate in the middle. Not picking up for anybody, just asking if that could be a reason why they're putting the mount so they can put it in the middle as per law.
No.
Okay, they're doing their own thing.
The space is there allotted for the number plate. Honda CRVs.
Those are the ones you're having trouble with?
Some of them.
Okay.
And I'm not going to hide. Honda CRVs. They have the space for front and rear center.
Okay.
The mount is there, and the mount is able to hold the number plate how it should be.
Yes.
But it can also be adjusted.
Okay.
And tilt. So instead of it being propelling straight towards you, they have it facing the sky. So I guess the police or whoever is behind is supposed to look above, to look down, to see the number plate.
Wow.
And then when we stop them now, they're going to feel like we are targeting them. I cannot identify what vehicle this is if I'm driving from behind. I cannot identify what vehicle this is if I'm driving from in front. So what is the purpose of you putting the number plate on your vehicle if you're going to tilt it in the sky for nobody to see?
You have a call.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Hello, good morning, officers, and good morning, Quincy.
Good morning.
Yeah, good day.
I do have a question to ask. I don't know if it's the officer's concern pertaining the road and the marking. I don't know if they drove through the island lately. Most of the white lines that is on the road is either covered up with dirt or with grass. Is you all responsible for that area?
Caller, I raised that concern recently. However, I wouldn't say we are fully responsible for it, but I wouldn't play a blame game. Traffic, public works, they work hand in hand, but the public works department are who are really marking the roads, and the parks and beaches persons are who are supposed to ensure that the road is clean. So when they're cutting the grass or whatever, if they realize that the grass has come over on the road, you know, we should clean it off. But sometimes we just cut the grass and we move ahead. But on a serious note, I understand and I know exactly what you're speaking about. Sometimes we drive in and it's like if we are to clear the road, we will see the actual width of the road. Dirt and grass come and go over in the road. So that is something we should look into.
I think in future, as you say, it's not really your responsibility, but I am suggesting that the police department and public works especially, because Parks and Beach not under that, public works and the police department to see that rectified, because it's really narrowing down the road.
Which area are you speaking about?
Generally, the whole island. They're in phase. They're not just one particular area. I usually drive from Newton Ground to Basti and the east side. And so many areas you cannot see that white line for no reason. And I know it's there. It's just dirt and grass running over. I do that at least 3-4 times per week. And I don't know about the other side, but I know between Kayan, Canary, back down in Sadler's area, Bellevue, Dawson, Mansion, that area is all covered up. You're not seeing the white line, only in patches. So try to get those areas rectified for me, please.
Thank you, caller.
All right, but it's a good suggestion you are doing. Yes, the lighting problem is really a problem in St. Kitts. As you say, sometimes you're driving, you don't even know. I always hold my road though because I never know what it is. So I always anticipate it is a full vehicle, not a motorbike. So I always try to hold my road. All right then, officers, you are doing a good job.
Thank
you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I have some questions or responses from listener. They said, I have not received responses, comments I've sent to the authorities on diverse traffic matters. 1, the unlawful height of road signs that imperil the safety of pedestrians on sidewalks, the varied fonts that are used on registration plates which make the numbers nearly unreadable. And then on another issue, are the restrictions on sidewalk vending being ignored again by the authorities. Even business houses on 4th Street now place tables on the sidewalks, forcing pedestrians on to the roadways. And the spasmodic enforcement of the rules encourage disregard and disrespect for the rules. It also goes on to say the Public Works Department is responsible for the maintenance of markings. It is not and should not be the police department's responsibility, so you're getting your kudos there. But the police should pressure Public Works to do their job because it becomes a road hazard.
Yes, and that's why I said I wouldn't try to make it a blame game. However, we work hand in hand. But yes, the Public Works is who are really
but if Parks and
responsible
Beaches
for
see
the
it
road.
too,
Yes.
they should let
Yes,
Police
because
know,
those are
public
who have,
works know,
yes.
because they are around more.
But we should also communicate with them too, because those are traffic concerns that persons will bring to us. With the reference to the unresponded notices that whoever said that they sent to the police, I am unaware of what the person is speaking about. I can't make a comment on that. However, they should follow up, especially with the person that they directed those concerns to for a response, or speak to the commissioner of police, who is also the licensing authority.
The height of the road signs, because sometimes you do have to duck. Should they, what is going to be done about that? Because even when you make them short, you see how they abuse them, because they run into them and mash them up.
We put them short. Not even children. I wouldn't blame the children. Big people use them as toys when they pass. They jump up, they hit them, they do all kind of things. Tomorrow the sign is down. You put them too high, the drivers say when they're driving they can't see the signs. So
you have to put them a limit.
Something you have to duck, because I've had to duck by signs.
Yeah, but remember, this sign is just not there for the pedestrians only. It is there for the drivers also to see that it's a pedestrian crossing and they have the right of way to cross.
For now, I would say that person just exercise precaution when, especially if you know there's a sign ahead, because some of the signs are up high that you can't, that no matter how tall the tallest person in St. Kitts is, wouldn't touch it. It's 4th Street. There are no parking signs. Persons come and they park right there, and because of the height of it, sometimes they claim, hey, we didn't see it. Fine. But if you put it too low, then it's still going to be a concern for the public. So we're trying to please everybody, but it would be impossible. And
the mention of the tables on the sidewalk. Because we know some of the culprits.
I personally, and
because we have to come off of the sidewalk to walk in 4th Street, literally.
I personally, and I don't think that I should get bashed for this, but I will not make any statement on that.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
We will take the suggestions to the higher ups and they will deal with it.
I will not
make a statement.
I
will not make a statement on
let
that.
The bigger heads deal with it.
Yes. That's why we are here. We take your suggestions and we pass them along the chain.
Because our supervisors do listen
they will
to this.
deal with it from there.
They do listen to the programs also, so they are hearing the concern. So
okay, got you.
All I would say here, supervisors, take note and please respond to the public and that on my behalf, please.
All right.
Okay, but before we close off though, I have a high concern right now. Now, the police force is investigating an ongoing hit and run. I want to encourage the public with any information to please come forward. Also, I want to put it out to any mechanic, any bodywork person, anybody that does any works on vehicles and does a work on a vehicle that was involved in a crime, knowing to them, or even if they don't know, that's accessory after the fact.
But you say even if they don't know, how do they become liable?
If I thief a phone and I sell it to you, you don't know I stole it, but you buy it, that is called receiving. You could get charged for that too.
How I become liable?
Well,
usually they know because of the price.
Yes.
And in terms of the vehicle,
a
mechanic will know that something is suspicious about where the fender.
So
like
what
he
if
might
the
ask,
person wash the can and says a goat or a cow?
Well, then
they would have to justify it to themselves. When we do reach to that person and they give us that excuse, when you go down to the court, you justify yourself, and it's up to the magistrate whether they think if you justified your action or if you did not. But for us, we're not here to figure out whether or not you knew or if you didn't know.
But Lord, if I didn't know y'all, I have to be in things that I didn't know.
All I would say with this situation, whoever is gonna be, even if the person have that vehicle hiding in their yard, or they do any alteration to it, any fixing to that vehicle, because they would have known what the situation is.
Okay. So you think some damage was caused to that vehicle?
Damage was caused to that vehicle.
Got you.
So let me ask this question. That means then that as a mechanic, if I see a vehicle, someone brings a vehicle to my shop, and I see some suspicious markings, then I should inquire as to how did you get in? How did you get that or something like that?
Yes, and if you're suspicious, especially knowing what have happened recently, then you alert the police. Let us come and assess it and let you know, well, hey, I dealt with an accident for this vehicle. It did get in an accident, okay? But this is beyond just somebody panicking and leaving the scene. And we will find that person.
Yeah.
So, to the person who is out there with a guilty conscience, it's best for you to come to the police now. Whoever might have that vehicle hiding or might have been doing any work to fix that vehicle so it could come back on the road, I want them to also know that they will be prosecuted also.
And I must, you see, oftentimes the police get bashed, but I must commend you because the way you state it and you say, we will find you and we will, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Think it is small and, the guy deserves better.
Of
course. Persons would have had their thoughts about him, especially from his reputation. But people smoke, people drink. Everybody have their own habits.
Yeah. He was a sweetheart.
And when he's not drinking, he's
never drunk when he has to work.
Nice.
Never.
He's never drunk when he has to work.
Yeah.
Never. And he does an excellent
And that
job.
night he was not drunk.
Wow. Wow. So that was intentional then.
But I would stop there with that.
You wouldn't say that it was
no,
intentional.
I said that. You didn't
right?
say that. So let's clear it up.
Right?
I said that.
Yes,
You
but
did not say
I
that.
wouldn't want you to put yourself there to say that it was intentional, because we do not know, right? All the person needed to do was stay there, right? Even if they panicked and drove off, they had enough time to come in and say, officer, it's me did it, I'm sorry, and stuff like that.
I panicked and once the accident was reported, it would have been dealt with differently.
So the longer you take to come in, the more you look
One
shady.
have 24 hours in which to report an accident.
Anything after that come with other charges.
So failing to immediately stay at the scene, failing to report the accident or the homicide, it's still an offense. Whoever might have helped in any way,
Clean up.
that's accessory after the fact. So I just want persons to really understand what they're getting themselves into and not just thinking, hey, let me help out my friend. Your friend had opportunities to protect themselves.
Yeah. And the first opportunity would have been to stay at the scene of the
Yes,
incident.
and the second one was to come back and report it after. Because it doesn't take 24 hours for you to calm down after a situation like that.
And we don't know the person's, maybe they go home and instantly fell asleep and never woke up until.
Oh, well, that is
So
a
they're
heartless,
still
that is a
sleeping
heartless
now.
person.
Huh?
So I'm just saying, 'cause I would
You're
like
not
to just.
You're not helping that person.
I don't want to help. I'm just saying because we all have different tolerances. So I don't know,
You
but I
have a
still want
caller.
justice for my friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
caller.
You have a caller?
Yeah.
Oh, caller, go ahead. You're live on Traffic Talk.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to you guys. Yeah, you guys have been talking about that accident, right?
Yes.
You know, this ain't my business, but I'm just gonna come in still, no matter what. You know, sometimes it seems like the place may have laws or don't have laws or have laws, and people are not obeying the laws or the laws are not being enforced. Any accident involving a vehicle, we just need to get the plate number of that vehicle, and the owner of that vehicle is going to be held responsible. They're going to have to talk up and say where that vehicle was at what particular time and date. There was a clip circulating. I don't know if this is the same accident you're all talking about, but there was a clip circulating. Whoever put that clip out, like we've been hearing the AG and other law enforcement talking about like people using their cell phones to catch, you know, people who's breaking the law, the traffic rules and regulations. So whoever circulate that clip, I believe that's where you all should start. And at some point on that clip, the gentleman that was hit, you heard when he said he not only got hit, but the driver of that vehicle proceeded to run over him a second time or something to that extent. Then the person who was doing the clip responded and said, well, apparently seems like you did something to somebody. Okay, it's all good that you hit somebody a first time and it's an accident. If that's the case, it's a good idea to stay on the scene, because an accident is an accident. The most you'll be able to be charged is vehicular manslaughter, but at the end of the day, once you go to the investigation, and that's proven, once it's proven to be an accident, you know, you should more than likely get off or get a lighter, you know, sentence or whatever. Because an accident is an accident, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But if somebody's going to use their vehicle to commit a crime, that now becomes a different situation. And that's where you guys got to be starting to look at, because it's starting to have a lot of incidents with vehicles in the Federation. And it's almost like as if, like, you know, people are using vehicles to, you know, do such things, those heinous things, you know what I mean? But enforcement got to start coming down. You guys got to start getting more, you know, particular about these type of incidents, because now we're seeing it's been happening more and more. And that's my small contribution in terms of that, man. You guys have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you, Carl, for your suggestion, and I agree 100%. And the police are doing their investigations, and they're going to talk to the necessary people that they see fit.
Yeah, wrap up.
Okay, gentlemen, we went 20 minutes over our time today. I guess it's over what it costs. We wrap up at this time.
Yes, but we just came here basically to encourage persons, inspect your vehicles before you leave your home, you know. Don't bash the police because you gave them an excuse and they didn't take it, because then that means we should listen you and not the rest persons, or we should listen you and the rest persons. Then we're gonna just be out enforcing the law and issuing no tickets. Persons just come in with excuses and we just accepting that. It's not up to the police to determine whether or not you're telling the truth that they're saying. We are dealing with what we see physically. So every officer have their own discretion, not because I might work with you this time and Constable Nisbet give you a ticket the next time, you should abuse him and tell him, oh, Officer Bell better than you. No. The officer is still doing his job within his right.
And working in traffic, you get a lot of licks from the public, right? Because people generally don't like to get tickets, but they like to break the law, and they like to come with some unreasonable excuses why they're breaking the law, right? Women in generally needs to inspect the vehicle, right? They like to tell you, I may know how to do that, I may know how to do this, but you have a boyfriend or you have a brother, sister, father, somebody who knows that can show you what to do, right? So you come out, you put on your lights, you walk around, you check, make sure all of it is working properly before you drive off. Women just like to jump in vehicle and drive, right? Most of them, right? They need to stop that and try, learn this thing, learn.
I wonder
right?
if my wife listening.
Men, right? Men like to just jump in vehicle. Some men jump in vehicle and just move. I'm in a hurry, have to run, right? But we need to take our time, inspect our vehicles, inspect them. Next time we come in, we're gonna speak about the license plates, right? Maybe we might speak about the tires, because you should inspect your tires also, from showing tread and those kind of stuff. So we're gonna be educating you along the way as we go, and we're gonna be coming stronger and stronger, right? We're hoping that the more we talk, the less tickets that we give. But for now, it doesn't seem that way, right? So I'm hoping that now we speak about the lights, we will have less tickets going down the rest of the year, right?
Or none at all.
Or none at all, right? So that's my closing. Just want to say good morning, Carol. Hope you're at work and not playing today.
All right. Okay. So Carol, be at work, and gentlemen, thank you for coming in. It sounds a great day.
Yes, thanks.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The importance of co-parenting. Every child has the right to bond with the parents that gave them life. Children are happiest when they can freely communicate and enjoy the time, talents, and lessons that each parent brings to the relationship.
We make co-parenting difficult when we focus on differences rather than what is in the best interest of our children. Parents, your relationship with each other should never affect the relationship you have with your child. Celebrate your children together. They deserve your best. A message brought to you by the Department of Probation and Child Protection Services. Contact us at 467-1311 or 662-6833 for more information.
Save your quarters and save your dollars. Your future's protect.
Parents and guardians, it's time to secure your child's success. Enroll them in Aspire and unlock amazing benefits. $500 in cash savings, $500 in investment shares, and life-changing financial education to teach budgeting, saving, and investing. Don't wait. Sign up your child or ward for Aspire today and give them the tools to achieve greatness. Visit aspire.gov.kn for more information.
Let TDC Financial Services help you go for your goals. Whether you're thinking of taking that grand vacation, down payment on a house, higher education, TDC Financial Services has various plans that will allow you to go for your goals. Choose from the Accumulator Plus, Investment Starter Plan, and Fixed Deposit. Ready to go for your goals? Visit us at TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Supplegen is giving away 3 unforgettable shopping sprees valued at $1,200 each. Just shop and win. Spend $12 or more on Supplegen products at your favorite supermarket. Write your name and contact on the back of the bill and place them into the Supplegen entry form boxes. Enter as many times as you like. Promotion runs from April 1st to May 31st. Supplegen boosts you up.
Welcome to Island Tea with your faves. Keep it locked in with us for your daily dose of hot tea, only on Win Media 98.9.
And we are back on Island Tea, and I saw another article just about 39 minutes, it may be more now, maybe almost an hour now, with our conversation that we were having earlier, Quint, them bombing a school again in Gaza that was housing displaced people, and again children are amongst the deceased. So
look,
and as Mr. McMahon said, BBC is keeping abreast on this because it's BBC who reported that. Yeah,
the world and let me repeat again, the world, especially the world media, international media, has to stop this bias because we're aware of it. And people might wonder why, for instance, South Africa took the stance that they did. You remember when South Africa took it to the World Court, I think it was, and people wonder. You know why? And you know why we as a black people, we are concerned about this. And as Mr. McMahon said, we are small little islands. And if you can do this on such a big scale, you imagine when they want to spin their propaganda and deal with us small little islands. You remember how it didn't take much for them to invade Grenada?
Yep.
You remember? And you remember what happened in Grenada? Yep. So we as a people, South Africa took the stance it did because South Africa had only recently come out of apartheid. So South Africa had the bitter taste of oppression in their mouth still. And we as a Caribbean people, we are still suffering 400 years plus of colonialism. You understand? So that is why we speak out and we are adamant. And that is why we are irritated by the hypocrisy that is being played. Hello? Okay, we lost that caller. Caller, you can always call back.
No.
But that is why we are... Hello, caller? Yeah.
Good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, good day.
Yes. God blessings to everybody. Greetings in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell. No, I didn't really call in for this, but let me just say this quickly. The Ukraine government has been sending weapons to, I think, jihadist groups that have been fighting against Ibrahim Traore. You know. Don't think a lot of people know about that. But since I'll mention it, I just let me just chip in for where that one is concerned.
And that is a good point. So you see what's happening in the world, where certain people just feel that because of the color of their skin, they have a right to do certain things, and certain people, like the people in the Gaza, they don't feel that they should even breathe the air that the Creator made.
Yeah. Another thing that a lot of people doesn't know as well is that a lot of them weapons that and so on that America has been sending to Ukraine, they have been selling a lot of them. You know. The Ukraine government is very corrupt, and they have been selling a lot of them. And people, like I said, factions who have been fighting against Ibrahim Traore are one of those set of people who have been getting weapons from Ukraine.
That is why I made the statement earlier that the Ukraine leader, he picks out, what he's going to say, and he never says, well, because if I'm in a problem, right, I think I would want to group myself with other people who are going through the same oppression, but no, he doesn't do that. He just singles out himself, and it's just about him and the Ukraine, and that should send a message to people about how genuine he really is.
Yeah, and not only that, but like I said, not only that, but to get as much weapon as possible from the West to also sell as much as possible so that he could pocket he and his cronies could pocket money as well from the weapon sales. And like I said, jihadist groups are fighting against Ibrahim Traore have been among other groups who have been getting weapons from Ukraine. And the Ukraine government, very corrupt Ukraine government have been pocketing a lot of those monies that they're making from weapon sales that they're getting from the West. Now, what I'm really calling for is when the last program you all had with the gentleman who was from government who was speaking about the plastic bag bans, and then a woman called in at the end and said, well, the prices of the plastic bags are incorporated into the product that you are buying, the groceries that you're buying. And one time I foolishly said on your program that they were given out freely, and then you all corrected me and said, no, they are incorporated. And I say, yes, you all are correct. You all are correct. That is unbecoming of me to make such a statement, foolish statement. But let me say this. Even though the prices of the plastic bags that the supermarkets has been incorporated into the groceries that you're buying, trust me, it is nowhere near even the 40 cents recycle bags that people are buying. Even that, what has been incorporated in price is nowhere near that. And even then, when we were doing the plastic bags, which were a whole lot cheaper, even then poor people still couldn't catch the tail. Even then you had poor people, and even long before that you had poor people who wasn't even seeing a good meal within days. Couldn't even provide. So you could imagine how much worse it is now that they are driven into even greater expense in buying these reusable bags. They couldn't make it when it was plastic bag. It's far worse now. That's one of the things.
Greg.
Hello?
Have you ever? I don't know if you ever listen to Calypso. You ever listen to Calypso?
Not too often. Once I got more used to, but not too often now. To be quite honest, I don't even listen much gospel music. I'm more listening to sermons than anything.
Because Calypsos are really social commentary, things happening in our society.
Yes.
Now remember some years ago when I think it was Singing Sandra did a song in the ghetto, Cry from the Ghetto?
Yes, I know it's good. I know that song very good.
Okay, and you remember the rebuttal song that came after that?
No.
Yeah, a male Calypsonian did follow up to that. I would admonish you to maybe do a research, and if you type in on the internet, I think you should get, because I think they're the same name, right? But what Sanjo was saying, that is what you're saying. People in the ghetto are struggling, and that is a fact. But when he gave his rebuttal, what he was saying is, if you look at how a lot of people in the ghetto live, a lot of them could afford a lot more, if they were more cautious as to how they spend, because his song showed, and you had to nod your head when you listen to the lyrics, his song shows where people in the ghetto splurge and spend foolishly, waste a lot of money that they could use for other important things.
That is true. I agree.
For instance, let's use an example of the braids that women use, right? You know how expensive it is to keep up that, and I have heard women complain that they complain about their friends who spend a lot of money on the braids and then come to them for assistance in helping, maybe to buy lunch for the kid or medical, So this is the conundrum that we find ourselves in, where we don't prioritize. That's the perfect word. We don't prioritize. Yes, we're poor people, but we need to prioritize. And if we prioritize, we can make it much better. Yeah.
I agree with you with that point, Quint. I agree. And a lot of us, the decisions we make, put us in bad and negative and counterproductive positions in life. I know that. I would also add, though, a lot of government policies make those decisions even worse.
Yeah.
In impoverishing us. But also on top of that, I know of poor people who are not living like that.
I know. That's what I said.
Who are trying to pinch the pennies.
Yeah.
Who are trying to pinch the pennies here and there, and they have it very, very tough.
Yeah.
Somebody right now, while they're talking, I have a certain picture of a woman with children right now. She's not living that kind of lifestyle, and she having it very difficult. So yes, I do know what you are speaking of, and I have said in the past, yes, decisions that a number of us make have not made things better for us, have made things worse for us. But I know of people who are really and truly trying to live the best, and life is not very good for them.
Yeah.
They're very poor.
That is a fact.
Yeah, so yes. So But to dovetail into that, I wanted to say this. It is very interesting that the PM, and I've said this before, it is very interesting that the PM is going to tell us, that we should shop around, buy alternative, buy the cheaper product, so that we could save more and spend more, and you can't afford this brand of cornflakes, then buy this other brand of cornflakes that is cheaper, and that sort of stuff. And I say that's very interesting, because here they were making thousands of dollars, and they said that they couldn't live on their thousands of dollars, so they had to give themselves a big increase. But they're going to come and tell people.
Greg, maybe you should take up a job as a defense lawyer.
but not only that. Yeah, but not only that. I'm like I said, I believe Ibrahim Traoré, I believe his heart is in the right position, but I do not agree with his methods, okay? But I believe his heart is in the right position. But nevertheless, I bring up his name to say this. Look at it. Ibrahim Traoré. No, before I say that, life in Burkina Faso is harder than in St. Kitts, historically, traditionally.
Yeah.
And look at it. Even in that context, Ibrahim Traoré came into power, and instead he did like our government, increasing the salaries. He decreased.
Mm-hmm.
And life is there, like they seem harder than with us.
Yeah.
And I said, look at even down here in the Caribbean, Ibrahim Traoré is even putting our leaders to shame.
Yeah. And he's putting other African leaders to shame too.
I know that goes without saying. But it's gone even beyond the African shores.
Yeah.
To us in the Caribbean. Instead, they do like Ibrahim Traoré and say, you know what? We're going to cut our salaries. No, they say they can't live on the salaries. So they have to give themselves a big increase. And then they don't come and tell you, the poor man.
Not only did he not take an increase, but imagine I think his official title is that he's president of the country. And imagine a president sticking to a soldier's salary. Could you imagine that?
Right.
That is a man who wants to see his country move forward. We have another caller. Hello, caller.
Yes, good morning again. I hope we're not setting up ourselves for disappointment when we're making so much of
Ibrahim Traoré. Yeah, I agree.
Could you please tell me speak up, because it's very difficult to hear.
Speak a little louder. Make some.
Yeah, I was saying that I hope we're not setting up ourselves for disappointment when we're making such a big issue of the efforts of Ibrahim
Traoré.
Yeah. Because the truth is, if he is successful, right, it's going to threaten a whole lot of regimes, not only in Africa, but around the world.
Yeah.
Okay? If that country becomes the shining example for others to look towards, let's say like how, for instance, we've made a big issue about Singapore.
Yes.
Right? That is not going to be welcomed by people who are intent on exploiting other people and other people's countries.
Yeah.
Okay? And so what I think we should do is pay more attention to our individual countries and individual leaders.
Yeah.
Okay? By all means, make the comparison and show the hypocrisy like what Greg was just doing, right? Because it is hypocritical, really, to ask people to tighten their belts while you loosen yours.
While you, let's take it a little, while you go in and tell the rest of the world that you couldn't live on your salary.
On your big salary, on your big salary.
Greg heard that loud and clear. Oh boy.
Oh, you heard him?
He heard that part loud and clear, the big salary.
Yeah, but the thing is, yes, it is hypocritical. But the thing is, we we accept it, we tolerate it.
Yeah.
Right? And people, some
But
people.
what could have the populace or the electorate done in that case? What could they have done to stop something like that?
Well, they have a choice every 5 years, you know.
Okay, so they had to wait for
They,
five.
they do, right? But of course, in the interim, they do all kinds of things which try to make people forget that these things happen, right? But in the final analysis, it's up to the electorate what they want to tolerate, what they want to accept. Because if something like that stares you straight in the face, and you're gonna be an apologist for that, then that's on us. It's what we accept. Okay, we always get the government that we deserve, what we are prepared to accept and tolerate. Okay, and if it falls right back into what I always say: if they don't meet your expectations, you change them.
Yeah.
All right. You don't keep them there to reward them to do the same. Okay. You choose somebody else. You go for somebody else, and likewise, if they mess up, then they suffer the same fate.
Yeah.
That is where we're going to have to reach if we're going to improve, if we're going to do better than what we've been doing. We have to.
And Mr. McMahon, I'm glad you made when you started your statement that we had better be careful that we don't unintentionally create harm for Ibrahim Traore. I agree with that. That is why you don't hear me calling his name too much. I keep my fingers crossed. I wish him the best. I recently made a statement that I am becoming irritated by, and we have got to be very careful. Sometimes our people, for the most part, we're very coward. We don't take a stance, but when we see someone move forward and take that leadership role, sometimes we are the ones who cause the death of that individual. And I say that to say this. Almost every time you go on the media, you see Ibrahim Traore's name. Yeah. Ibrahim Traore's name. And people are using it even where it doesn't belong. You understand? They're using it as a means of getting you to, what did you call it? Cortensia, clickbait or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, using it just for you to get a click on them, and then you hear them go off on a different tangent.
Yeah.
But when they're doing that, as Mr. McMahon said, there are people around the world who don't want this kind of movement, you know.
Nope.
So you need to, if we are smart people, stop highlighting and pushing every aspect and blaming everybody else, and let the brother do what he's doing, right, as he has been doing. You understand? Without you right, highlighting every aspect of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I am sure, because he's human, he'll probably make mistakes as well.
Yeah.
What we're hoping is that he doesn't make the human mistake of being all powerful and therefore all corrupt.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want it. We don't want it to end in that.
Yeah.
And what I think it speaks to, though, that the fact that everybody's latching on to him, is the fact that there's this void of
yes,
real leadership.
That's
and
it.
So everybody is really yearning
yes,
for somebody to be different.
That is a
and
good
do what's
point.
right.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's yearning for that.
Yeah.
And so we latch on to something like this. But I'm saying that rather than look over there at that shining example, we can do things to make sure that our leaders do right by us.
Yep.
Okay? We just have to have the courage, the will, and the good sense, the common sense, to do what we know we should do. Okay? We can have our own little Garden of Eden down here. That is what we should be striving for. Yeah. And when politicians do things which is against that, then we know what to do with them. Okay? We don't have to have no bloody revolution or coup or anything like that. Yeah. We have a chance every 5 years to make our our feelings known, okay?
Yeah.
And do what's right for us and for the future.
Caller,
Okay?
I don't know if you saw the article, but you see that Mia Motley said she was going to do 2 terms, but now she says she's going to do 3. What do you think about that? Because she has a lot of insight that makes a lot of sense. Because in one part she said true leadership is never about comfort. It is about calling, it is about timing, and it is all about service. And she also says that her party has grown, her team has grown, and it makes no sense to leave them there. Let them continue what they would have started. And she even took a jab at the Democratic Labour Party, where she said the DLP resembles more of a pressure group than a political party of 70 years. What do you think of that? Do you think she should do the 3rd term?
That's abject nonsense. You can't tell that's what it is. There is no way anybody can convince me, right, that 2 terms is not enough for any leader. I don't think there is any leader who can be so right in all kinds of respect, or so exceptional in all kinds of respect, that somebody else can take over where they have left off. As a matter of fact,
but what if because
leader,
it's not only her constituents that wanted to run, civil society, members of a party, the private sector.
It does not matter.
Okay.
Right? We're falling into this sheep mentality. If you can't point out to me, unless you feel that everything right that has happened in Barbados is due only to Motley being there.
Okay.
I don't see how that is possible.
Okay.
Right? I feel that a true leader will put things in place, yes, do things that would uplift their country and so on, but also put things in place that when they're gone, the country doesn't fall apart. And the impression that she's given with asking for a 3rd term is that she has not done that. She basically she's saying, only me can run the country. Only me have all the ideas, have the charisma, the whatever that is needed to make Barbados successful. Barbados was successful before she came, and I'm pretty sure after she's gone, it's going to be as well. This 3rd term thing, she should step aside, in my opinion, she should step aside after two terms and let somebody else groom somebody else to take over a job. I guess it's like anybody else who would know that they can't complete everything they want to do in 2 terms. But what you do is put things in motion, make sure that what you want, the things that you really want to see happen, you galvanize the support from the country for these things, and then you'll be assured that somebody else coming is going to make sure that the country continues in the right direction. That, to me, is a critical part of leadership. You see, for instance, what Trump is doing now, the things that Trump is doing now, he knows that he's probably not going to be around to see the kind of America that he really wants to see. But he's making sure that he put things in place that even after he leaves in 4 years, right, it's going to be hard to reverse, or Americans going to be not going to go back to where they were before he came in. That to me is vision. I mean, I know we're normally very critical of Trump, but he is fixated on a vision, right? And what he I think is going to look at is to make sure that when he's making all these moves and challenging the courts and all of that, that is to make sure that his vision of America is gonna last longer than him. You know, it's unfortunate that vision, I think, is a pretty dark one, but you know, that's who he is, and you know, being so dogmatic and so very forceful and don't care. He don't mind breaking the eggs to make the omelette kind of thing. That is what he's about. Okay, but let us in response try to make sure that we can survive in this really hostile world, because from all appearances, it looks as if it's going to be becoming even more hostile. I mean, actually, I'm surprised that we've reached the point now where we realize how much we rely on American power. Okay, it was there all the time, but there was a moral basis for it, that presidents and so on and their leaders in the Congress didn't really exercise it to the max to get what America wanted. It was more a case of soft power. Trump has decided, hey, I got this power. What's the use having it if I don't use it to my advantage? And we're at that stage now where virtually every nation on earth is afraid to challenge America and American policy, whether it's good or bad for them. And that's anytime you have a dominant, whether it's a dominant nation or a nation that claims to be dominant and exceptional, or race, whether it's a nation or a race or religion or whatever, that says, I am the one, there shall be no other but me, kind of thing, we're in for trouble. So that is why I'm really, of late, I've become very pessimistic about how things are going, right? That there's no counter to this kind of power, right? The rise of this kind of power, and that what it represents, like I said, backwards to colonialism and imperialism. I never would have thought in my lifetime that I would see that. It's really, I think it's really unfortunate, but we'll see what happens. Trump is making sure that no one can challenge America, not only economically, but militarily as well, and that may be a source of a lot of conflicts going forward, I think.
All right, thank you for
your.
Right.
Yeah, Greg, you want to make a final statement?
Yes. Let me make a final statement by saying this. Well, like I said, I think Ibrahim Traore, I think he means well for his people, but I do not agree with his methods in him going about achieving with what he wants to achieve, because I do not believe in government doing this and government doing that and providing this and providing that to empower the people. I think it's counterproductive in the end because it is unbiblical. No, that's number one. Number two, Quint, you'll be on just after this on the program, right?
Socrates is going to be hosting Voices coming up next. He's already in studio.
Okay. Because what happened is that I want to read the short summary from the IMF report, and I think there are some stuff in it that are very concerning for the Federation that I ain't really hear not much discussion on.
Well,
I want to bring up that.
Well, you can call in when Socrates is on, and I'm sure he will accommodate you.
Yeah, provided he doesn't have a specific subject.
Well,
okay.
We'll see.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, caller.
I don't understand. So who should empower the people? It's our money already. It's our taxes.
Greg is too much. He's too strict and stringent in certain things. In a case with Ibrahim Traore and Burkina Faso, there's no other alternative, because you come in and you have to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the only way you're going to do it.
And we elect these people to lead on behalf of us. So it's like.
Hello, caller.
Caller, go ahead. You're live on LNT. Hello, caller.
Yes, good morning to each and every one.
Good morning.
I am so glad that I'm sorry. If I may inject my contribution on this
try to be brief, please.
I shall.
Okay.
Now, I am picking up on leaders who think only they alone and their doctrine and their ideology is the only way to run the country. Remember, there is a saying, good, better, best. No matter how good a man may think he is, there is best, but better is yet to come. So we hearing that saying in St. Kitts too. Only Harry. There are going to be better people than Harry. Whatever he did was good in some eyes, and whatever he did in some eyes, it was not good enough. And maybe he tried, maybe he did his best, but the best was not good enough. So I will never condone that saying. But coming to our country, we should more focus on our country and what we need for our country, and decide bluntly, boldly, what we need so that we could have a prosperous country moving forward.
When it comes to leadership, I would say that your best is never enough, because because Mr. McMahon made a statement, and I agree with him. This is why when you're a leader, you make succession plans. You put plans in place so that when you reach the end of your tenure, you know that you have people who have been groomed to carry on.
Absolutely, I agree.
This thing about you being a leader and being the only one who can go infinitum, this is ridiculous. And the new generation is not going to accept that.
And that is where self-aggrandization come in. Because they self-praise themselves. Only me, only me. That's bullcrap. Okay? So they are not open-minded. They are so single-minded. And those are the people to look at. Okay? All I'm saying, in closing, who was there had the chance. Who was there did what they had to do in their tenure. Move on. Let someone else try. Because it's not only one man. This country is no one man. No one hand can clap. And that is the problem with sensitive people. And they're going to fall right back into the quagmire. And I, for one, am going to try to break that cycle. Because I am trying, and I'm not afraid to say my name. I am Winston Welcome, and that's how I will be known. Okay? I will continue to do what I'm doing and try to leave a good legacy for the generation or those who come after me to continue the legacy. I don't need to stay in power and think that is it. Power is not for me. The good and the due diligence for the human is what is my main prospect and quest. Thank you for hearing me. Tomorrow I will chime in again. I know you have little time.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Okay. Hello, caller. Okay, we lost that. So unless you can call back in a hurry, we're going to do our wrap-up because we already have Mr. Socrates here.
Yep.
Ready for the next show.
Alrighty. So to all, a happy Monday.
So
see you again tomorrow.
See if we can squeeze in this final call. Hello, caller.
Yes, good morning, man. How you guys doing? Good morning.
Yeah, be very, very brief.
Yeah, well, I want to
I don't know if you want to call back in when Socrates is on his show.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. No problem. But me, quickly,
Go ahead.
The style of politics in the Federation, we need to just change and break away from the status quo. And big up to Ibrahim Traore.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
You found the sound 98.9. Win FM.
Let's stop child sexual abuse. The age of consent is 16, yet our 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, and 10-year-olds are becoming victims of sexual abuse and exploitation, which is being forced into sexual activity before they are old enough to decide. This causes mental, emotional, and physical harm to our children. Parents, it is your responsibility to protect and to educate your children. Develop a relationship of trust with your child. If they trust you, they will tell you. Child sexual abuse cannot be